Well, this is my 5th day of fasting, and it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I really couldn't sleep very good last night, and I feel weak. I feel weak, from not eating, and actually, I think my cheeks even are sunken in more, and so. I come to some thinking, though, I think one of the most important things in life is to be right with yourself and to be right with your maker. Before you die, it's what people always want to make sure that you're right with God. Like, you say to the people that you've offended that you're sorry, and you try to do better in your life, and the wrong things that you've done in your life, you try not to do them no more, and you learn from your mistakes. And sometimes the mistakes that we make in life hurt us. And look, when I was a kid, I had a friend, he used to call me Thad Hideous. And I didn't know what the word hideous meant, And my name could be, my name is Thad, but it comes from the word Thaddeus. And so he said, Thad Hideous. I never even knew what that meant. I kind of like the fact that he gave me like a nickname. I thought it was pretty cool. Until one day, I went over to my cousin's house, my Aunt Barb and Uncle Jerry's house, and I told them my nickname, and they told me what that word meant. It means ugly. And all this time, I had the nickname Thad Hideous. He gave me a nickname Thad Hideous, like in 4th and 5th grade, and I can't remember exactly the time frame, but it was long enough that it really hurt me. But I remember when I was in my first speech class in 6th grade, and I was angry at him because I learned what that word meant, and I guess to get back at him, in my speech I made a joke about him, and I thought that it wouldn't, like make me sad that I did that. It made me very sad that I did that, and I carried that pain for many years. In fact, I kind of still have that pain, but I understand it now as just something kids go through. And same thing with other things that I've done that are wrong. Like I mistake, like for example, using drugs or alcohol, for like an escape. That's not the right way. That'll only lead you to more problems. Okay? And I've made some significant mistakes in my life after I've been smoking marijuana. And there's a time in my life I really couldn't go to sleep unless I smoked a little bit of pot. I'm not like that now, but now, thankfully, I have no addictions. Not that pot's addictive. It's not addictive as far as I'm concerned, but it could be bad for your lungs, and it can make you more vulnerable to making mistakes that you wouldn't otherwise make, and same thing with other drugs, and especially alcohol. And you know, my favorite book in the Bible is Ecclesiastes, and I just feel like I'm gonna read that book again here shortly, because I haven't read it in a long time. There's a lot of good stuff in there that I really like. Because see, King Solomon, you know, he was considered the wisest person of his generation. And I'm gonna pause this. I gotta get a drink. So anyway, King Solomon, he was considered the wisest person in his generation, you know, in his time, and people from all over the world came. Well, I say all over the world. I mean, at that time, I guess, in his, you know, geographical location, you know. But they did come from afar, you know, like, because, I mean, news of King Solomon spread around, they say, like, around the world. Like, I don't really know if it was really around, like, the whole world or not. But, you know, people came to see him from afar and consult with him. And there's a lot of stories how he exercised his great insight and wisdom, see. And, but in the book of Ecclesiastes, you know, he says something to the effect that he gave himself to wine, and I think they call it dearth, like D-I-R-T-H. I kind of have an idea what that means, but it means like doing anything you want. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. And he anyway, he just gave himself to a lot of things to learn. And then in the book of Ecclesiastes, he talks about what he learned, you know. For example, he says a very sad thing is a person to have like all kinds of money and not be able to enjoy it. And that happens sometimes. And one of the really funny guys, famous comedian Jim Carrey, he made the statement one time. He said that he wished that everybody could become rich and famous and achieve everything you ever wanted to achieve and create for yourself a life of luxury, so that they could find out that don't bring happiness. That don't bring happiness. Some people sometimes, you know, they use dope and you know, alcohol to I think make their life easier. Like, you know, there was a time in my life when I use amphetamine because it give me. I mean, the doctor never give me anything to really pep me up. You know, I wish they would have. But sometimes, you know, it just gets hard, man, to get out of bed and to like work constantly and struggle. And you know, I remember when I first, you know, started taking speed, like when I was in 8th grade. I mean, you know, they used to sell what they call black beauties, and it's basically like a diet pill, but it was actually speed back in a long time ago, you know, and women would have them, and you know, I could buy one for $1, you know, at school, and I'd take it in the morning, and I started doing really good in my classes. I got interested. I really got interested in I can't remember what particular class that was, but yeah, I started writing stuff and everything, and because the drug helped me, Well, I didn't drink coffee back then, It may have been that if I would have drank coffee, maybe I would have did better too. But I'm not, like, right now I'm not drinking coffee, and according, in my fast, I'm thinking about, not actually drinking beer anymore during however long I fast for. I don't know, but the thing is, the fasting is making me feel weak, and when I feel weak, sometimes I feel sad, and when I feel sad, I start contemplating on things that make me feel sad, things that maybe I have, regret in my life about, and I especially don't want, if my grandchildren ever see this, like if you're looking at me talking right now, and you've heard me talk about, smoking pot or doing drugs or drinking alcohol, like I don't want to give you the impression that I think that it's helpful, because your body can make its own chemicals, and your brain and there's different glands. I think they're called glands, and like you got a pituitary gland, which is like right in the middle of your brain, like right like down like down in there and in the middle, and you got other glands, and they make hormones and stuff that can make you happy or sad. And some people have like maybe one of the glands won't work. Like I said before, talking about my it was a gland I had to take thyroxine for. I can't remember what that gland name is. It's not. I don't think it's pituitary though. It's another one. And it can, like, if it's not functioning properly, like, it can make you sad, and it can make you fat, and it can do a lot of things if it ain't working right. And I quit taking everything, once, all my medicine from the VA. I had supposed to take that, supposed to take something for like arthritis kind of stuff, like, inflammation, like in my spine and stuff like that, and joint damage and all that kind of stuff, and also for cholesterol, for high cholesterol, which can give you a heart attack. Like if you keep like having high cholesterol, clog up your veins and your arteries, and you can have blockages, and a blockage can break free, and it can go to your brain and make you have a stroke, or you can have a heart attack, and you can die. And I know people that have died that way, and even people in my own family. And but I don't have to take anything anymore, because I quit taking it, and I got my blood work done, and the doctor said that I guess my whatever gland that was, I can't remember, thyroid, my thyroid gland is okay now. So I don't know. I guess I mean, I took that thyroid medicine for, I don't know, 10 years at least. Probably maybe 15. Well, I didn't take it as long as the cholesterol medicine. But I still, the doctor told me when he gave me cholesterol medicine, he said, look, are you going to change your eating habits? And I told him, well, I don't really eat that much food, for one thing. And another thing, like, I don't like go to McDonald's and stuff like that to eat. I'm mostly, eat like, like real food. So I don't really see how I can, change. Like, there's a difference between like what they call processed food and real food, And I also figured out one time I felt like I was getting asthma or something. I went to the doctor, and they said, no, you ain't got nothing wrong with your lungs. They said, that's an acid in your stomach. I think it's called acid reflux or something, but it's like acid in your stomach, and it made me feel that way. And then, so they gave me medicine for that too, but I figured out, by chance, okay, when I was working construction, I always ate canned food for lunch. Like, I just bring, like, I like, ravioli. I ate a lot of ravioli, and that has, for one thing, it has, tomatoes have a lot of acid in it, but it tastes good. And it has sugar in it too, and it tastes good. And it makes you feel like, you're full, and it don't weigh you down too much. I liked it. I still do like ravioli, and I could eat it right out of the can cold, because that's the way I used to eat it. But when I quit eating the canned food, so much canned food, my acid reflux went away. So, I'm just saying. But, so what I'm saying is, the things that how we live our life, the things we do to our body, and the things we do to our minds, and the things that we do to our hearts, are really significant and important. And that's why you have to protect your heart, and you got to protect your mind, and you got to protect your body. You need to protect like all aspects of yourself. And sometimes especially when we're kids and stuff, growing up, we don't think that really too much can hurt us, like, and that's the way I always felt. And so I just want to say, right now, that how much I feel, in my weakness. Because when you feel weak, when I feel a certain sense of strength and stuff, like stoicism, like a kind of like a stoic kind of intestinal fortitude, and like just like nothing can get me down, it's kind of feeling. And well, I think it's easier for me, like when I think about my dogs and how some of my dogs got killed, I can get angry, see, and I go through this thing of anger. Like, if I ever find proof of some of these things and the person who did these things, like, I don't know what I would do. I don't want to really say, but like, I was kind of thinking that I might actually like hurt them, do something in revenge. And even up on my cross, I was gonna put the list of all the names of the people on the right hand side of my cross. I say that because in behalf and with emotional regard, and for different characters. And I also mentioned Judas Iscariot, and Paul, and Barabbas, who, Barabbas was Jesus took Barabbas's place on the cross. You know, they freed Barabbas and they crucified Jesus. Well, I'm just saying, if you think about even like Judas Iscariot, in the whole, you know, formulation of Christian thinking and sacrifice for sin and atonement for sin, you know, our sins we commit and everything, in the answer to that problem, you know, for God so loved the world that God gave his only begotten Son, okay, to die on the cross for our sin. I say on my cross, I won't kill him. I won't kill these people because of my regard for some of the other greats and the people that have gone, you know, before me in my mind and in my thinking and in my heart, right? And so I will spare their lives, you know. I mean, I won't try to kill them. Although, like, you know, digging your dog out of a sewage container all swollen up and having to use a cherry picker to pull them out because he's too big and swollen. I mean, and another dog, you know, getting hit in the face with a hatchet, and then I don't know what he was poisoned with, but I know that there's coffee grounds in his intestines, and, you know, stuff like that. And I don't want to go into all that. I think I may have mentioned it before, but I'm just saying that it makes you kind of want to hurt the person who did that. Like, if I ever caught a person in real life trying to hurt my dogs or something, yeah, I might really, like, on my sign I say, if you come on my property with untoward or malicious or intention, you know, I'm gonna put my scope on you and blow your mother humping brains out. I mean, I said that, and I mean that, and that's why I say I have a sign out there for people to read, put them on notice, because I'm done with the bullshit, man. I mean, like, I ain't putting up with it no more, you know. But there's other things in life that soften us, okay? Like, so, you know, what I am trying to say is, like, I try to hold a balance, and, you know, I want to be a nonviolent person, and I don't want to go to jail. Like, if I ever did something that would make me go to jail, I might just go ahead and kill myself, because that's what I tried to do before when I thought I was gonna have to go to jail. You know, but I ain't doing nothing that'll make me go to jail or anything. And I don't want to do anything that's gonna make me go to jail. And I don't want to do anything out of anger that's gonna make me go to jail. Okay? So, and it's a real art to be able to address each problem in a constructive manner, and live without offense. You know, don't, you know, live in such a way that you don't offend people. And but you might offend somebody over something that you've taken a stand on. I mean, I'm not saying that, but what I'm just saying is, in my sense of internal, like, weakness right now from not eating, I am feeling, you know, feelings of well, they're kind of feelings of kind of like acknowledgement that I'm just flesh and blood, prone to mistakes, And sin, what sin means is missing the mark. It comes from shooting an arrow, and you sin when you miss the mark, and that's what the actual translation of sin is, missing the mark. And it's kind of like missing the mark that God sets for you. And that's why I say I think it's important to be right with God, to be right with your Maker. That's the most important thing in life, to be right with yourself. Stand by your convictions, try to do your best, try to be as honest as you can be, and as smart as you can be, and try to, display, positiveness and happiness. And look, there's a saying that says something like, if you're happy, the whole world will smile with you, but if you're sad or you're crying, you cry alone. And sometimes it's really hard to turn something that's sad around, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes some people use drugs to do that, and that's not really a good way, because your body can make the hormones and everything for happiness. They know this now. And I just think that the most important thing really is to try to live a good life and do the best you can. Try to, when you consider the mistakes that you have made, try to learn from your mistakes, and don't, do it again, and be strong and courageous, and live life as best as possible. Well, that's where I'm at right now. And so I wasn't fasting for any kind of spiritual experience or anything, but in the process, it seems like I've had one already now. So look, I'll just say this one last thing. I've been punched in the stomach a couple times, unexpectedly. A real little kid, my cousin, punched me in the stomach. And then when I was in, I think 7th grade, I was walking into the bathroom and somebody just slugged me in the stomach for no reason at all. Just because they wanted to be tough. They knocked the wind out of me. And I couldn't do anything. He hit me square in the spot of your stomach where it'll knock the wind out of you. I couldn't even breathe. And he did that just because he wanted to feel tough. Okay? Well, that's not a good way to be. And I don't know how a person who would do something like that, I don't know how that can actually make them feel good. But especially in school, when you're growing up, you encounter a lot of stuff. I never really told anybody about that. I never told my mom or anything like that. I never told my dad or nothing. And I know, like, a lot of times we keep stuff to ourselves and handle it our own selves, and it becomes like a barrier between, like, maybe you and your parents, and you don't really tell them everything about things that really hurt you and stuff. But you know, I hope that my talk here can kind of be a bridge for that, because your parents actually, have been through a lot of stuff, and they might help you think outside of the box. Like your life is like, your own little box, and it's really a good thing, a wonderful thing, if you have somebody who can help you think outside of the box. Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna call this one thinking outside of the box. All right, bye.